Hello people, welcome to JoeyGripps YouTube channel, and today we got an Overwatch developer update. So 2 hours ago there was a developer update released for Overwatch where Jeff is talking about the newest updates installments that's coming out for Overwatch. So they're probably not going to talk too much about Overwatch 2. They might even mention it, but there's a lot of changes going on in the game. And next season, I'm very excited. I've been playing a lot of it on PC, not on stream, but on PC offline. I'm having a great time, ranking up, playing with Moira. That's my new main. Having a great time with that. So let's check out this new developer update where the title is called Experimental Mode Triple Damage. Let's get into it. Let's see what Jeff has to say. I might pause it in between, but let's get into it. It's about 7 minutes long.
What's up, everyone? This is Jeff with the Overwatch team. Very exciting developer update today because in the last developer update, I mentioned that we would be bringing you something very special, which we call the experimental card.
Correct.
Well, we are now on the eve of the experimental card going live. And that's to say that if everything goes correctly, tomorrow we'll have the first version of the experimental card up, and all of you, including everybody on console, will get to play our first experimental modes and test things that we're really unsure about, and that's why they're going to you. I want to remind everybody that the experimental card is not targeted at bug fixing or stability or anything like that. The experimental card is really focused on radical gameplay changes or things that we want to try out and get your direct player feedback on.
So what he's saying right there is that they're gonna come up with some crazy modes, or they're gonna change the map, or like bring elements to the map, but it's gonna be zany, unnatural things to the Overwatch game as you know it, every week, sometimes daily, where they might take a hero out the list, or they might remove a map from the competitive list, or they might change the way a hero moves. There's so many possibilities during this experimental mode that I'm so excited to see. One of the things I would love to see is to see Torb, that's right, Torb, have the climbing mechanic. We've seen it before where Torb is able to climb in the early footage of Overwatch, but they took it out because they felt he was OP. I would like for them to bring that back in the experimental mode to see how it plays, see how Torb can climb in different areas, put the turret down where you don't expect it to be, and control an area, control a point, control the way a payload is coming up or going down a hill. Quite exciting. Let's continue listening to it.
So the first version of the experimental card that goes live hopefully tomorrow. Now, as I said, stuff could go wrong, so maybe it gets delayed a little bit, but hopefully tomorrow this card will go up, and we are going to be testing something that I actually mentioned in a forum post.
Hold up, I just want to say that sweater he got on is kind of lit, for real.
For those of you who are paying attention, back in January, that was a change to the role queue system. Now, I don't want to panic everybody, and I want to remind you that these are really experimental changes. We are unsure of these. That's why we're not patching them live. That's why they're not on the PTR. This is just an experiment that we're trying. So the change to role queue that we're going to be trying on the experimental card tomorrow is one in which it changes the number of roles and restrictions to those roles such that we will have 1 tank, 3 damage, and 2 support players. So obviously this shifts off of the current role queue, which is 2-2-2.
So basically what he's saying is that the community has been complaining that the game has turned into shields and healers, shields and healers, shields and healers. And what that means is that all you're doing throughout a whole match in Overwatch is trying to destroy the shield to win a match, right? And healers are trying to keep their teammates alive to destroy the shields. So shields and healers, and the DPS characters are not really a big factor besides shooting shields down. There's no strategy in the game besides who has the best shield, who has the best strategy using the shield, and what healers can support those shields to win the match. That is an issue in Overwatch right now because there's no balance. There's no balance. So I see where they're coming from. I see where he's coming from.
Now, you might be wondering, why are you trying this change? And I think the why is the most important thing behind any design decision.
Okay, let's see what he says.
So the impetus for this was a discussion we were having months ago. In fact, we were having this in, I think it was November or December of last year, where we were talking about how do we make damage queue times faster.
Exactly.
As many of you know, when we introduced...
Yes. See? This is what I said. DPS is obsolete. It takes like 15 minutes to get a match with someone who's an attacker, like Soldier or Junkrat or Torb, because there's not enough players for it on the one hand, and on the second hand, nobody wants to play shields or healers, so it's over flooded. So it depends where you're playing on. In console it might be different than PC, you know, but this is a big issue. I can never get in a game with a DPS. I always have to play a tank or a healer. Always. I haven't even done my placements on PC or on console with a DPS because I can never get a match, and the queue time is like 20 to 30 minutes, which I'm not gonna wait for. That's like 2 matches, 3 matches.
Introduced roll queue, which is a system we think is very successful and has overall been a positive change to the game. It added some extra queue time for those players who are playing damage. And one of the ideas that we started to experiment with internally was 3 damage players being available to each match instead of 2. This was a lot of fun. It was very controversial on the development team. We had very strong reactions for and against the system. And ultimately, at around the same time, we had also mentioned to you that we were going to do this experimental card. I made that post on the forums, and so many players said, well, why don't you let us try it? So this is your chance. You can test out one of the wacky things that we've tried.
Okay.
What we are going to be looking for as the experimental card is up is we are going to be looking for the effects to the queue times to see if it actually makes a difference to damage queue times. And we'll be tracking statistics very closely and seeing how it affects not only the queue times within the experimental card, but how that fans out to the rest of the service, including quick play, competitive, and the different modes in the arcade, in particular quick play classic. So
what you're saying, Jeff, is that you're gonna have 3 DPS instead of 2-2-2. You're gonna have 3-2-1. You're gonna have 3 DPS, 2 healers, and 1 tank. So you're creating more eliminations to each game, right? Faster games, because people are going to get from point A to point C so quickly, or they're going to push the payload, or they're going to capture the point so quickly, because if you have 3 attacks and you eliminate, you know, 3 people, 4 people from another team, that's an easy wipe. So people are going to be playing through the games much faster. You might have one game that lasts 7 to 9 minutes instead of 15 minutes because of this. Because you're gonna have less shield, less defense in this mode. It's only experimental. It's not on the PTR. It's not on the actual servers. It's just on the experimental card. But this is what I see. They want to speed up the game. It is slow because when you're watching the Overwatch League, the matches are so slow to watch because they're just playing in a way that you have to melt through the shield, and it takes so long because people are rezzing, people are healing, and no matter how much you melt down Orisa's shield, Reinhardt's shield, or whoever else is putting up a shield, even Brigitte, you're holding it up and you're holding the team in one place for 15-20 minutes for one round. So they're trying to speed the game up, for sure.
So we want to see what queue times are like, and that's what the development team is looking for. We're also looking for your feedback because this is a radical change. There's a lot different here. As I had mentioned in that forum post a few, I guess it was like a month ago at this point, the biggest concern we have with this change and why we were reluctant to make this one is we're very concerned about what this does to what players have come to call off tanks, specifically Roadhog, Zarya, and Diva.
Diva, for sure.
What you are also going to see on the experimental card, in addition to the change to the queuing ratio, you're going to see big balance changes to these heroes. Now, don't freak out. These balance changes are not intended to make it to the live game unless we were to put the 3-2-1 system out there. Under our normal 2-2-2 role queue, we would never make balance changes like this. But this is a look into what happens if we decide to make Roadhog the only tank in the match, or if we decide to make Diva the only tank in the match.
Wow.
You are going to have some insight into the type of balance changes that we would need to make. So we really want to hear from you. We want to hear from tank players. We want to hear from non-tank players. We're going to be looking at the damage queue times and seeing if the experiment's actually fixing the problem that it's trying to solve.
Damage queue time.
One thing that's really cool about the experimental card, and I want to remind you all of, is that when you queue up for matches in the experimental card, you'll still be leveling your account. So that means if you get another level, you'll still get your loot box reward. And if there is an event going on simultaneous to the experimental card being up, the example I'll use is like Summer Games or our Halloween event, you will still be getting credit towards those epic skin unlocks like you normally do. So I think that will be very cool, and there might be some event surprises coming your way while this experimental card is up. So just remember, you're getting rewarded for testing out new and cool things. And I can't say this last thing enough. Don't panic when you see this card go up. These are changes we are unsure of, and that's why we're getting your feedback on them. It doesn't mean that they're imminently coming to Overwatch anytime soon. It just helps you get some insight into what we're focused on and some of our design process. So we hope you enjoy the experimental card when it goes live. We're looking forward to hearing all of your feedback. And as always, thanks for playing Overwatch, and thanks for being such a great part of our community.
Nice. So we now know what triple damage means. Triple damage means 3 DPS, 2 support, 1 tank, and they're going to be experimenting with, in the new experimental mode, with that, and seeing if they could just have 1 tank that you can pick only from the list, like a Diva, like a Roadhog, or Ryan, or whoever, and then the rest will be all DPS and healers, and those you, or support, however you want to call it, and those you can switch out and swap out in between. But he didn't really say that it was locked, you know. They didn't say it was locked. They didn't speak about whether it's a role queue. It's just 3-2-1, but not locked. Like you could jump around from one role to another. Or maybe it is locked, but he didn't specify, so we're gonna find out when the when the update comes out. He's saying tomorrow. We'll see. Nice update, Jeff, so far. But it's, again, you know how they are. They'll let us down before. Hopefully they don't let us down now. Thanks everybody for watching. Appreciate the support. If you're new, leave a comment and subscribe. If you're an old school supporter, appreciate the support as always. See you guys in the live stream. JoeyGripps signing off. See ya.